Hi guys, so over the last few weeks we've heard from the Tories and right-wing commentators that Europe is copying the Rwanda scheme and that Keir Starmer was wrong to scrap it. They've also tried to embarrass the Prime Minister by pointing out that he's been meeting with his Italian counterpart as she seeks to set up offshore processing of asylum seekers. Well, in parallel to what happened to Rishi Sunak, an Italian court has deemed Giorgia Meloni's scheme unlawful. Have a listen to this.
Now to the legal blowback to Italy's plan to regulate asylum seekers coming into that country. The Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is facing a major setback to her government's plan to ship undocumented migrants off to Albania. She's called a cabinet meeting after judges ruled that 12 Egyptian and Bangladeshi migrants sent this week to an Albanian processing center had a right to be brought to Italy. Now that's because the judges said their countries of origin are not safe, contrary to an assessment by Meloni's government. Italy had planned to send possibly thousands of migrants picked up at sea to Albania under this controversial arrangement. All right, let's go straight now to journalist Seema Gupta in Rome. It's good to see you. What more can you tell us about the ruling by the judges?
Well, essentially, it was an immigration section of a tribunal here in Rome. And their decision was that this process, outsourcing, if you like, of the processing of migrants to Albania was not valid. And that's because the decision was made to speed up the processing of these migrants in another country based on the fact that these migrants were said to have come from what the Italian government deemed was safe countries. And so these migrants from Bangladesh and Egypt included in this list of about 20 or so so-called safe countries. Now, earlier this month, the European Court of Justice had already called into this question when ruling on another separate, completely unrelated case as to what could be deemed as a safe country outside of the EU bloc. And they said that all territory in those countries had to be deemed safe. And so it's called into question whether such countries can be considered safe if not every aspect of the territory is safe. So the court here in Rome simply deferring to the decision made at the European level of the European Court of Justice. Now, Ms. Meloni, for her part, though, reacted strongly to this, saying that, look, it's not for the courts to decide. The courts have been prejudiced.
Once again, the typical response from right-wing politicians is what? To criticize the judges, to criticize the court. Exactly like the Rwanda scheme, huge amounts of money going down the drain, huge amounts of money wasted. Isn't it ironic that right-wing politicians will describe socialists and left-wingers as, wasting other people's money, wasting taxpayer money? Here you have a perfect example, taxpayer money down the drain. It's estimated to cost about €1 billion over 5 years. And like the Rwanda scheme, £750 million, money wasted instead of actually checking with legal experts to see if this is actually possible. Once again, let's run ahead with this scheme, let's waste taxpayer money, and then find out later if it's actually lawful or not. This money could have been spent on hospitals, it could have been spent on public infrastructure, could have been spent on schools, could have been spent on a whole range of things, €1 billion. But instead, no, let's waste €1 billion or like £750 million in Britain on schemes to prop up our support with racists and bigots. Because that's what it's about. It's not about, value for money. It's not about humanity. It's not about processing asylum claims. It's about, gesture politics to a certain wing of politics. So once again, we have right-wing politicians wasting public money in order to appeal to a small section of society. Now, I hope this is going to damage Giorgia Meloni because she has built her entire career on immigration. We need to bring down immigration numbers. We need to act tough. We need to send people away from Italy to be processed. This is going to damage her politically, I hope. The extremes, of course, will blame judges, they'll blame the courts, they'll blame the European Union, the European Court of Justice, they'll blame everyone but themselves. Once again, politicians not actually checking whether something is lawful or not. No, let's waste public money beforehand. Now, right-wing commentators in Britain have, of course, been trying to suggest that Giorgia Meloni is a hero here. Giorgia Meloni is doing a good job. And she's copying Rishi Sunak's Rwanda scheme. Of course, these two things are very different. They're similar, but different. But I think they're going to be very quiet for the next few days or weeks. Because this, is, of course, is a massive embarrassment for the right wing in Italy. It's an embarrassment for Giorgia Meloni. And it undermines this idea that you can just offload your problems onto somebody else. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.